Greetings. It is a joy to be with you in this virtual space. Our church community welcomes you whether you are a new or long-time member. We would like to extend a special welcome today to those of you who are joining us for the very first time. If you would like to learn more about our community and its online offerings, please go to nsuc.org and sign up for our newsletter. There has never been a better time to get involved or to become a member of the North Shore Unitarian Church. We would love to get you connected. Welcome.
Hello, my name is David Blythen, and it is good to be with all you this morning. I would like to bring us together with some words from Paul El Haru. We gather in community to rest from our labors, to greet our neighbors, and to open our being to insight and intuition of greater reality of which we are part. May we find in our time together inspirational and renewal. May we touch the holy in each other and be touched by the graciousness of life. May we find here a calm peacefulness that will carry us through the days ahead.
Many years ago, thousands of years ago, people in the Northern Hemisphere were thought to have gathered wreaths of evergreen and lit fires as a sign of hope in the coming spring and renewed light. This custom was kept alive by Christians, and by the 16th century, the Advent wreath had gradually spread across the world. Today, Advent is a period of 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas. It's also the time when days are shortest, when the cold settles in, and when people need the cheer brought by the promise of light and warmth. As we light one more candle each Sunday, our Advent wreath symbolizes our waiting experience. Week by week, the candles remind us that the darkness of fear and hopelessness recedes as more and more light is shed into the world. The flame of each new candle reminds us that more is yet to come. On this first Sunday of Advent, we light this candle of hope with the words of Macrina Whitaker, a Benedictine monastic. She writes, I was just thinking one morning during prayer about how much alike hope and baking powder are. Quietly getting what is best in me to rise, awakening the hint of eternity within. May this candle awaken the best in us, connect us to the eternal, and give life to our hope.
Find the stillness, hold the stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
What does it mean to be present? Does it simply mean showing up in class?
No.
Does present mean sharing something at show and tell?
No.
Does present mean wrapping yourself up?
No.
Being present means listening carefully when other people are speaking.
Being present means noticing when someone needs help and taking the time to give them the help they need.
Being present means focusing on what's happening now instead of thinking about what's next.
Being present means appreciating what you have, even if what someone else has seems better.
Being present means waiting patiently for your turn.
Being present means treating each new experience as an opportunity and understanding that making mistakes is how we learn and grow.
Being present means being grateful for your family and friends and telling them so.
Being present means savoring each bite of your delicious food.
Being present means cuddling with your puppy and enjoying how soft and wriggly he feels.
Being present means relishing the warmth of the sun and the sound of the rain.
Being present means feeling the sand between your toes, watching the rolling waves, smelling the briny seaweed, and listening to the cawing seagulls, and tasting the ocean's salty spray.
Being present means allowing the rhythm of your breath in and out to make you feel peaceful.
Being present means closing your eyes and being still enough to hear your inner voice.
Being present means living in the moment. It means realizing that yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That's why we call it the present.
So tell your friends what it means to be present and spread the word. When we're all present, life can be much richer, fuller, and happier.
Thank you.
North Shore Unitarian Church is a community that is grounded in love, guided by reason, committed to spiritual growth, and striving for justice. We accomplish this mission through the generous donation of our members and friends. And so we invite you to text your donation now. Please note that in order to give, you must include NSUC, the designated fund, and the amount.
Beloved companions, breathe deep the breath of life. Let down the cares of the world from your shoulders, if only for this moment, as we hold one another in loving community. So often in our dailiness, we do not give ourselves time to quiet our lives, but such stillness is important to the human spirit. So now I invite you to relax and quiet your mind. Cease the inner conversation, pause the movement, end the doing, set aside the making of plans, stop the worries, and be still. We will hold silence together for the space of 7 deep breaths. Blessed be.
Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you
Today's reading is Walk, Don't Run by Rob Bell. Walk, don't run. That's it. Walk, don't run. Slow down. Breathe deeply and open your eyes because there's a whole world right here within this one. The bush doesn't suddenly catch on fire. It's been burning the whole time. Moses is simply moving slow enough to see it, and when he does, he takes off his sandals. Not because the ground has suddenly become holy, but because he's just now becoming aware that the ground has been holy the whole time. Efficiency is not God's highest goal for your life. Neither is busyness, or how many things you can get done in one day, or speed, or even success. But walking, which leads to seeing, now that's something. That's the invitation for every one of us today, and every day, in every conversation, interaction, event, and moment, to walk, don't run, and in doing so, to see a whole world right here within this one.
Hello, my name is Lydia Clow. I am the daughter of your intern minister, Ann Clough. I am also happen to be the video editor for all of the church services that you see here every Sunday. And I also, as my full-time job, I am a music teacher for elementary school. So I teach ages K4 through 5th grade. So that's preschool through 5th grade here in Milwaukee area. And so I am coming to you today from my at-home classroom music studio to show you today the calming practice that I do with my students at the beginning of every single music class that I have with them. I only see them for 30 minutes 2 times a week, and I take the time to do this practice before every single music class. And it's just a time to take to be mindful, to reset, to help the transition for those kids who maybe do not transition from one room or one thing to another quite as well, and giving some emotional regulation for those kids who maybe come in upset from something that happened before. Kids are coming from either gym class or from some of their academics. And right now we're doing it through Zoom. So it's a lot of sitting in front of a iPad for hours on end doing academics. And as an elementary schooler, you need some time to self-regulate and to work through those transitions a little bit. So we first start, if you would like to join me, please do. We first start by shaking out our arms. Let's shake them out, shake them out. Shake out our legs, shake them out. And pardon me, my teacher voice is going to start coming out here. We're going to shake out everything. Just shake it all out. Let's appreciate our healthy lungs. Let's take a nice deep breath in through our nose. Out through our mouths, in through our nose, out through our mouths. And then we're going to listen to my chime for the magical musical number of 4 times. Let's close our eyes and listen together. Great job. And then we would be moving on to the next thing in the music class for that day, which is usually singing warm up. So it simply takes that long, 30 seconds, maybe 40 seconds, depending. And watching all of these, elementary schoolers, age 5, 4, even, watching them all take the time and just closing their eyes and listening is just, it's almost magical. It's insane how well they do with it. And they just understand it. It's just a thing that we do all the time now. So they're like, oh yeah, okay, let's do our calming. And we shake it out. And they love it. And it's a good way to self-regulate. So I hope you can maybe take parts of these into your practice at home and try these out with your children. Yeah, have a good one.
Greetings. Reverend Lucas Hergert here. Ann Clough invited me to talk a little bit about my daily spiritual practice, and I'm happy to do that. As many of you know, I'm a yoga practitioner. I've practiced yoga regularly for about 10 years, and I did it sporadically before that. I didn't discover yoga as a spiritual tradition. I discovered it as a very physical practice in a gym. And it was really kind of like an exercise class. But from the early times of kind of discovering it, I realized like there was something really beautiful about it. There's a way in which yoga, by being very attentive to your physical posture and where you are at, like in a particular pose in a particular moment, it invites you to really anchor into the moment. And it's a cultivation of attention to the details of where your body is. Some people refer to it as praying with their body, which I think is lovely. And it really it in a way it frees you from the fluctuations of your mind. Now, the tradition of yoga that I ended up really engaging with, and that I have a teacher who I still study with in it, it's called Ashtanga Yoga, and it originated in Mysore, India, and its central text is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which is a book that's about 2,000 years old. And what it talks about is exactly that. How do we free ourselves from the fluctuations of our mind? And it's interesting that people, 2,000 years ago were asking some of the same questions that we were, when we experience waves of anxiety, or when we're angry, or when we're sad. How do we find some relief from that? And what the Yoga Sutras talk about is that when you're able to cultivate careful attention to the present moment, and one of the ways to do that is by entering into physical posture and really paying attention to the posture that you're in, you find some release from that. And I've found that to be true. I could talk about yoga all day, but I will leave it there. I'm somebody who doesn't think that yoga is at all the only kind of spiritual practice that you can have. One of the things I love about Unitarian Universalism is that many people have lots of different ways of cultivating a spiritual practice. But whatever it is, I hope that you're able to cultivate that kind of attention to the present, because I think that it can be a beautiful and healing thing, especially in these chaotic times. Be well.
Hello, everyone. My name is Atticus Rice. I'm a member of youth group, and my personal practice for relaxation is cycling, like riding a bike. I do it every day for around an hour to 2 hours, and I have for around 2 to 3 years. I used to do it every other day, and now, since quarantine has gotten me sitting down on the couch for most of the day doing homework, and taking very, very few breaks during the time I'm actually working on my schoolwork, I've been doing it more often. So, I mean, it's got a whole bunch of benefits. It gets rid of my stress. Like, it just completely eliminates my stress after I work out. I am all good and ready to go for more studying, or to go to sleep, or, watch TV for a while. Another benefit is it is very good for you. It's good for me. Exercise is proven to reduce rates of anxiety and depression and everything like that. And having those two things run in my family I feel like I am probably benefiting from the exercise in ways that probably aren't very clear to me now, since I'm generally a very happy person. And then that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah. Thank you.
About 350 years ago, there was a woman named Susanna Wesley. Susanna was married to a minister who traveled quite a bit to preach, so she was often left to run her household and raise their 10 living children by herself. Each morning, Susanna would get everyone up and moving. She would start a fire in the hearth and put on the breakfast porridge, and then she would sit down beside the fire. In that spot, she would take her apron and put it up over her head so that she could have the quiet space she needed to pray. I can only imagine how many other things Susanna could have been doing with that time. But she said no. She knew that the energy and the focus and the loving kindness that she would need throughout the day depended on taking those few moments in the morning to renew her spirit. She wanted to connect her heart to the spirit of life, the source of strength for her in the tasks ahead, and an inspiration for her relationships. Centuries later, our modern, planning, forward-thinking, problem-solving minds also need rest. No matter how many directions you feel pulled in this holiday season, you deserve to have this kind of practice. In order to give yourself a restorative practice, you, like Susanna, will have to say no to other things. To begin, you'll have to say no to the belief that there is no time for your mind to rest. Earlier today, we paused for 7 deep breaths. You can do this anytime you need to. You may also need to say no to others who tell you that quiet time is wasted time. In fact, the opposite is true. Time taken in restorative practice is valuable and sacred. It can help our minds to be refreshed and present to the other activities of our day. On the other side of the coin, you can say no to a practice that someone else is telling you you should do. There is a resting practice that is correct and good for you. You don't have to try to do what anyone else is doing. For Atticus, cycling is right. Yoga nourishes Lucas's spirit. But maybe you find that your mind releases when you make art, or practice dancing, or when you simply stop and breathe. Your practice is exactly that. It's your practice. And an important part of it is listening to your own body-mind to see what it needs. So I give you permission to say no to perfectionism. Create a practice that you can take with you even when you travel. Make it something you can do most days, even if you don't feel well. You don't have to commit to an hour a day if that's not correct for you. It can be simple and it can take only a few minutes. The key is to be consistent. Take a quiet time for yourself most days. This is much more important than trying to do something that is very complicated or takes a long time. And finally, all of us can say no to the belief that mindfulness and restorative practices are only for grown-ups. Young people also benefit from learning how to rest their active minds. Susanna Wesley not only took the time to pray every day, she also carved out time for her children to pray, and she taught them simple prayers. As a result of learning to listen to their own hearts, 2 of her sons, John and Charles Wesley, went on to found the Methodist faith. For the children in our lives, we can both live the example and create the time and space for them to do things that aren't goal-oriented. Lydia shared an example of what works even with very young children. By finding the value of mental stillness early, children can take this powerful gift with them throughout their lives. So let all of us, at any age, take at least a few moments to listen as our spirits show us the way. May it be so, and blessed be.
You gotta do when the Spirit says do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do. Oh Lord, you gotta do when the Spirit says do. 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 Spirit says do, Spirit says do. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you gotta sing. Oh Lord, you gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. Spirit says sing. Spirit says sing, Spirit says sing, Spirit says sing, Spirit says sing, Spirit says sing. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, you gotta dance, oh Lord. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. 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 You gotta laugh when the Spirit says laugh. You gotta laugh when the Spirit says laugh. When the Spirit says laugh, you gotta laugh. Oh Lord, you gotta laugh when the Spirit says laugh. 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 You gotta give when the Spirit says give. You gotta give when the Spirit says give. When the Spirit says give, you gotta give. Oh Lord, you gotta give when the Spirit says give. 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 You gotta do when the Spirit says do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do. Oh Lord, you gotta do when the Spirit says do. says do.
You are invited to join us for our virtual coffee hour, which will begin in 5 minutes. The link can be found in the newsletter. But first, by way of closing, I offer these words by Becca Reynolds. May love permeate your every heartbeat. May faith guide your every step. May truth and compassion be your eternal traveling companions. And may a deep, abiding spirit rest joyously in your every waking wish and your every resting dream.